Marketing services. In travel and tourism we are generally concerned with the performance of service delivery as opposed to the production of physical goods, although the term product can be used generically to include services. The principles of marketing can and should be applied across the whole range of economic activity. These may, however, require adaptation to the particular industry of part thereof. In the case of services, much credence has been given to the 5 characteristics discussed below: intangibility, inseparability, ownership and perishability, and many marketers of services have made innovative attempts to manage the implication of these. Intangibility: services are most commonly described as being intangible. In other words, they cannot be seen, felt, heard, tasted or smelled prior to purchase. This aspect of services can make it difficult for consumers to acquire product knowledge in advance of purchase. A variety of methods are used to try to comfort this difficulty. Some organizations attempt to provide tangible evidence of services, often through production and distribution of information sheets or free gifts which have a representation of the company or product. Inseparability: services display simultaneous production and consumption as they are consumed directly at the time of production. Services cannot therefore be separated from their provider. For example, in order to experience a holiday you actually have to go on it. Similarly, services cannot be separated from their source and so the service provider needs to ensure successful service delivery at the first attempt. The historical development of marketing. Heterogeneity: the achievement of standardization is difficult in services where people play such a large part in the delivery of the service. There is scope for differentiation as a result of slightly different behavior. This adds to the difficulty of evaluating services prior to purchase. Trust on the part of the buyer is required for purchase, and so the role of the salesperson takes on an extra dimension here. Marketers often attempt to standardize service delivery through staff training, uniforms and codes of conduct, or even mechanization. Other factors, including weather conditions, are more difficult to standardize, although developments such as Center Parks, which provides a holiday resort housed within a temperature-controlled dome, are an attempt to do this. An alternative, favored by some tourism providers, is to stress the benefits of the individuality of their products. Ownership: it is often suggested that consumers own services only temporary. Indeed, in contrast to the purchase of a physical good which becomes their property once the transition is complete, the consumer is only renting or buying access to a service such as an airline seat or a hotel room. This can be an important distinction when a consumer is choosing between the purchase of a service or a physical good. A washing machine which will belong to the purchaser for as long as they wish may seem preferable to a week in the sun, the benefits of which may be quickly forgotten. Perishability: producers cannot hold a stock of a service indefinitely. There is a finite period only during which the sale and consumption of a service can occur. For example, an unsold airline seat cannot be sold after the flight has taken off. This spare capacity represents lost revenue, and so a variety of marketing techniques are used to try to prevent this situation arising. Reducing prices shortly before a service is due to be delivered is one such technique which attempts to stimulate demand. The above 5 characteristics all change the emphasis of the marketer's task when dealing with tourism services. The marketing of services has been greatly developed in recent years, with knowledge of the techniques available to service marketers becoming far more widespread. Marketing for travel and tourism. Undoubtedly, the characteristics of services and the implications of these for marketing need to be taken into account by travel and tourism marketers. There are additional characteristics of the tourism product that require particular attention from marketers. Marketing in tourism has been accused of lagging behind other industries, and there has been an attempt by some, especially larger, tourism service providers to employ marketing managers from the FMCG sector in order to help them catch up. A popular explanation for this is the immaturity of tourism as an industry. Most commentators agree that the many small firms in some areas of the tourism industry also face problems due to limited resources. Management skills and time can be lacking in these smaller companies, as well as financial resources. A common feature of the industry has been the development of generalist managers as opposed to specialists in fields such as marketing. This stems, in part, from the traditional training schemes used in sectors such as hospitality. In practice, many of these firms function on a short-term basis, thinking tactically as opposed to adopting a more strategic approach to marketing planning. As is the case in many industries, tourism faces government regulation in some areas that also influences marketing. Consumer production issues have become highly visible in this industry. As we have seen, the tourism industry involves not just private, but also public marketing sector service providers. The public sector has not always wholeheartedly embraced marketing philosophy for a number of reasons. Once again, a lack of resources is a common problem, and this situation is worsened as many public sector organizations do not know in any one year what size of budget they will receive the next. Short budgeting cycles in themselves prevent long-term planning. These budgetary problems are compounded by the fact that public sector organizations often have to support a number of different tourism products in their area from the same budget. The disparate nature of the tourism product can lead to further problems for the public sector organizations who are unlikely to have control over the products they are marketing. This can be crucial in respect of quality. A final, but nonetheless important, factor that inhibits many tourism organizations is a lack of relevant market data upon which to base marketing decisions. Although this is an area which has improved immensely in recent years, difficulties are still encountered in using data from different countries which may be inconsistent due to different methods of collection. Marketing for travel and tourism. It is not only the smaller organizations involved in travel and tourism that encounter problems. There has been some polarization within the industry, with a number of dominant organizations emerging. In some cases, the growth of these organizations has been such that managers have become very far removed from their customers as a result. This has implication for marketing and must be carefully controlled. In addition to all of the above, tourism products are high-risk products. They can be expensive, travel itself can be dangerous, and there is also a risk involved in purchasing a product that is unseen and unsets. Much marketing activity revolves around minimizing this risk through means such as information provision and quality control. Furthermore, many tourism organizations have yet to implement fully the concept of consumer marketing. A great deal has been done in recent years to change this, with much progress being made in some areas. There are travel and tourism organizations which have completely adopted marketing orientation. Indeed, some of these are amongst the most successful global companies in the world. Whilst these travel and tourism organizations can therefore be seen to be highly effective at marketing, notably the larger airlines and hotel chains, it is the proliferation of smaller firms that dominate the industry that often display less impressive marketing skills for the reasons highlighted above. The importance of marketing in travel and tourism. Seasonality is an important reason for marketing in travel and tourism. Clearly, there is a need to combat fluctuations in demand. There are high fixed costs involved in providing some services, which has implications when products remain unsold. Many examples of attempts to compensate for uneven demand can be cited from the tourism industry. Hotels which achieve high midweek occupancy figures due to business tourism offer special weekend rates to try times of the year. This is to an extent demand-led, with airfares to South Africa and Australia increasing in price at Christmas whilst fares to some other destinations will be lower at the same time of year. The interdependence of tourism products often requires a collaborative marketing effort and so a highly coordinated approach. Destinations marketing companies have therefore become popular in recent years. Cooper et al. 1998, have argued that marketing is important in an industry where loyalty, both in the chain of distribution and in the company, is low. Marketing for travel and tourism. As the market for tourism matures, it is becoming even more vital that managers employ appropriate marketing strategies and techniques to satisfy needs amid consumer sophistication, increased expectations and more completion. The rate at which travel and tourism is growing is evidenced not only by the number of people traveling, but also by the extent of developments on the supply side, such as new resorts and attractions.